A while back, you saw me showcase my GRIMDARK speed painting method on this model. Today, I'll expand on it on this other model I have already base coated. 2 thin coats of paint staying within the boundaries of each element was the first step. I will also avoid going for the same mud-like dirty look and go for a general dark blue shadow. For it, I'll use black and indigo oil paints. After mixing both blue and black oils to a desired tone, alongside a bit of solvent to make it more runny, I covered the whole model. What I'll do is paint in reverse, where instead of highlighting, I'll remove paint from the higher surfaces to reveal the lighter color beneath. I left the oils to dry for 30 to 40 minutes. You'll note they have lost a lot of its sheen. That's the solvent having evaporated. The time I gave the oils to set is what enables them to get a grip on the model, and allows me to control how much I want to remove. For the removal of the paint, I'll soak my brush in solvent, and through a tapping motion, I'll begin to reactivate the paint. Whatever excess paint lifts up will run to the recesses like a wash. We have to be mindful of paint pooling near the bottom, but this can easily be picked back up with our brush. After a general cleanup, I decided to go for another pass since I'm not going for that dirty look, but rather a more dark, somber one. Once again, being careful with any excess paint pooling on unwanted spaces. Once I'm pleased with the cleanup, the model is left to dry and could be called done. All in all, I spent whatever time it took me to base coat the model, plus no more than 5 to 10 minutes between oil application and cleanup. We do have to wait in the middle, but I tend to use this time as a hobby break. However, I am going to add a bit more detail to the model, only a couple more minutes to enhance some volumes and textures. Just on the 2 clothing items which are its main colors, plus the leather. I'll be using the same base colors which are now a bit tuned down due to the oil wash, and instead of following the highlight all along, I'll use a tapping motion to make dots and create texture. See how I'm not pointing at the fold in the clothing, but rather making use of the side of my brush to avoid touching the recess. For the blue cloak, I'll do something similar, but since the folds are a bit wider, I'll paint thin lines. The key here is to use a brush with a nice point. While the paint has to be slightly diluted in order to leave our brush easily, we don't want it overflowing with paint. Too much paint on the brush will make it very hard to achieve thin, easy lines. For the thinner folds, I'll once again recur to dots. You can always add a pinch of white to the base colors if you find the texture hard to read, but as long as you keep the dots and lines tiny and having separation between one another, you should not run into this issue. Also, leaving the metallics untouched will contrast nicely with the clothing, and will enhance the texture we worked on even more. I kept the basing simple with some sand and rocks, and after a quick base coat and dry brush, blended all together with some pigments, which I also applied over the legs and ends of the clothing to better integrate the model to this dusty scene. I am not using actual hobby pigments, but some acrylic chalk I got from the art store and grained it down, more of a budget option. Finally, I had to add some blood effects on the weapons. I did a light pass of blood through the Blood God technical paint mixed with a pinch of black ink. And then enhanced the ends of the spikes plus a couple of random dots here and there with the technical paint in its pure form. With that final detail done, the model was finished. If you are a recurrent viewer, you'll know that now I have a proper turntable to showcase the end results. So I hope you enjoyed this proper look of the model and it inspires you to try the technique out. As always, any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments.